As a political spectacle, it was hard to beat pomp, circumstance and mutual admiration from the leader of the most powerful country and a man who wants to be a player on the world stage. But the relationship between Donald Trump and India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is about more than just compliments. It's about trade, money, and it's about China.
This perspective towards India is based on location, geography, and economic potential. If you take all these into account, there's no other country in Asia which can offer any kind of a balance to China.
The United States sees India as an essential buffer to the growing expansionism of China in the Asia region. The US has the most powerful navy in the world, but India is the dominant power in the Indian Ocean, and there is concern that Beijing may spread its power in the South China Sea to India's area of control.
It sees itself and it models itself on America, on that ability to project power across the oceans, to be a global player, to be able to influence outcomes in distant shores and distant parts of the world. So to that extent, China is almost certainly going to expand. It's going to foray into the Indian Ocean, and the Indian Navy will have to contend with that.
More than 40% of the world's oil passes through the Indian Ocean. It's the lifeline for the economies of many countries. China has developed bases and ports in East Africa and Sri Lanka. It is currently operating 9 naval ships in the Indian Ocean, but there are concerns this may increase. India is an essential early warning system with a string of strategic listening posts in the region. India has just agreed to purchase $3 billion worth of attack helicopters from the US, but its military capability is far below that of China, which spends 4 times more on defence. In addition, the Indian Navy is in need of upgrading. It has just 2 aircraft carriers, for example, compared to China's 10, and is scaling back plans to expand its fleet because of costs. For India, having a powerful friend like the United States is important, but it doesn't want to make an enemy out of China either. The two countries fought a border war in 1962 over disputed territory, and there are still unresolved issues. But India is well aware of the strength and capability of Asia's growing superpower. To much of the Indian public, it seems the Indian Prime Minister got more out of the Trump visit, but critics say it was simply kudos and endorsement. The real substance belongs to the US, with India having to toe an American line that previous Indian governments have resisted, such as how it deals with Iran.
The options are shrinking because Trump is also making it a world outside the Chinese influence, where it is unipolar. You will, if America has a problem with Iran, you will not deal with Iran. Even the India of 20-30 years of far weaker economically would have been able to play the Russians against the Americans and continue dealing with Iran. They can't do it today. So they have to face the Chinese threat, and they then have to do whatever America requires of them, and that is actually the current situation in which we are operating.
India is having to perform a delicate balancing act, but as the US and China continue their battle for global dominance, it's hoping it won't become collateral damage. Tony Birtley, Al Jazeera, Delhi.